Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Greetings of peace. Islam Talk and Farina Siddique. I want to talk about women today. You know, we are approaching International Women's Day. That one day when somehow, some way, everybody thinks we should celebrate women. They just wake up and say, oh, you know what? We need to celebrate women. We need to cherish women. We need to actually understand and, acknowledge the fact that women are, as a 50% of this world, are doing so much more. And we need to acknowledge that. So this is the once a year opportunity for people to actually realize and it dawns upon them to actually celebrate women. So on this Women's Day, you must be preparing for dinners or parties, for awards and all that. Look at the picture in my post, the picture of those bombs. Remember, which bomb are you actually aiming for these Muslim women in Palestine? So when you think about Women's Day, this International Women's Day, but suddenly everybody wakes up to actually cherish the women. Suddenly everybody wakes up to acknowledge the fact that women are doing an amazing job in this society. Working moms, working women, staying at home women, and everybody is actually doing so much more. But this time, this year, think about women in Palestine, women in Gaza. What are they doing? They're showing an absolutely amazing resolve and resilience. They're being bombed, they're being raped, they're being murdered, and their children are being chopped in front of their very eyes. But their unshaken belief and faith in their creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is an amazing show of strength and resilience. And we should be very ashamed celebrating any woman if we are not speaking for these women in Palestine. If we are celebrating women, distributing awards, it actually throwing dinner parties and everything, we are being hypocrites. We're celebrating all the other women in the world, but we're ignoring these women who are oppressed, who are literally suppressed by majority of the rulers of this world. All the Western countries, they're ignoring them. They're not even listening to their voices, their cries, their pleas are actually dropping on deaf ears. They're not doing anything to them. So all the Western countries, America, UK, everybody is actually behind Israel, ignoring these women, ignoring these women's and their plight, their destruction, and their bad situation right now. Everybody is showing, you know what? We celebrate other women for the rest of the world who are actually happy-go-lucky and already living a happy life, but we don't care about women in Palestine. So this International Women's Day should be very ashamed of a cycle when we actually celebrate the rest of the women in the world, but we ignore the women in Gaza, we ignore the women in Rafah, and we ignore the women in Palestine in general. So we need to think about this. And especially the women, if you're listening to me, remember the women who are being oppressed, who are going through this killing, this genocide, and this injustice by majority of the nation that you are a resident of. The countries where you reside, you and I reside, are actually suppressing these women by just unconditionally siding beside Israel, the apartheid state, the corrupt state, and the terrorist state that Israel is. They are actually siding, and they're actually completely ignoring. Even uttering the word of ceasefire is like chewing something really bitter for them. It's so terrible. Think about those women in Gaza. Their kids are being murdered. Their babies are being butchered in front of their very eyes, and they're getting bombed every single day. Like when I'm talking right now, they're being bombed. And tomorrow, on International Women's Day, and over the weekend, all the celebration and parties and everything that is going on in different parts of the world, there will be a bomb coming to these women. So we should be ashamed of doing anything on this International Women's Day without doing anything, without being able to do anything for the women of Palestine. Because if we're not being fair to everybody, that we're not supposed to say, even claim, saying that, you know what, we are celebrating women, we appreciate women on International Women's Day, this award and that prize and that, bursary and whatever we call it, we're hypocrites. All the women and all the people who are celebrating the women this year will be hypocrites because they have been ignoring the rights and the plight of women in Palestine for the past 70 plus years. Stop being hypocrites. Speak for these women and make a change happen for these women, and then only then we will have the right to actually celebrate the, the rest of the celebrities, the happy-go-lucky women, all the, like, privileged women in this world. Okay, share this message on this International Women's Day. So there is no International Women's Day without the women in Gaza, without the women in Rafah, without the women in, Palestine. Remember this. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.